In today's show, Damian Lillard is coming back to the Portland Trail Blazers. He's back! Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen. Coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, so make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. This episode is either your Friday show or the next one's a bonus show. We're doing 6 this week. We had to hop on here quickly because, whoa, big old news. Damian Lillard is back. He's back. He's back. The greatest Trailblazer of the 21st century, a franchise icon, one of the greatest players to ever wear a Trailblazers jersey, has decided to return home. The agreement was first reported by Bill Oram of the Oregonian, and then the details later reported by ESPN. Damian Lillard, who was just a free agent local basketball player, local dad, living in Portland, has decided to return. He agreed to a 3-year, $42 million deal to return for the Portland Trailblazers. That will take him through the 25-26 season that he's likely to miss, and then 26-27, and if he so chooses and it opts in, 27-28. Obviously, he could opt out and sign for more money or sign a different contract, etc., etc. Damian Lillard is 2 days removed from celebrating his 35th birthday. Happy birthday, Dame. He is likely to miss all of this season as he recovers from an Achilles tear. He tore his Achilles on April 27th in the first quarter of Game 4 of the Bucks first-round playoff series. He has surgery to repair that Achilles on May 2nd. Later, the Bucks decided to waive and stretch the 2 years and over $100 million remaining on Damian Lillard's contract. He still gets that money. I believe he just gets paid on time, just like his normal NBA contract. But the Bucks decided to move on from Dame after 2 years in Milwaukee to sort of maximize their ability to be as competitive as possible this season, or perhaps to make some tough decisions. Whether they are right or wrong, we shall see. But with Dame likely on the shelf for this season, Milwaukee just needed to or chose to go in another direction. So Dame now enters free agency with the money still coming to him, $50 million this year, whatever it is, and he gets to make his decision. And there was initially reported right away by Chris Haynes of Chris Haynes. I don't believe he has an affiliation right now, of Chris Haynes. Chris Haynes of Chris Haynes. He reported that, it was like Miami and Portland are the two places I would look out for. And then there were some other spots that people were floating around that he could possibly end up Boston. I don't think there was much interest from Dame, but people were saying, hey, Minnesota could make sense for Damian Lillard. Yeah, okay, all these spots, right? And then there was some reporting that Damian Lillard, one of the challenges was he wanted to be in Portland, Oregon. And any team that he chose to sign with was going to probably have to reckon with the fact that one of the hardest parts about him moving to Milwaukee is that his family didn't come with him. Due to whatever, this relationship with his kid's mom, like they got divorced. They didn't move with him. They're here. His extended family's here. His mom lives here. A bunch of his other extended family lives here. This is Damian Lillard's home in the off season. Not only are his kids here, this is like still home for him as an adult as well. And so one of the challenges of being in Milwaukee was just being away from all that, being away from home, being away from your children. All of the sort of challenges of demanding NBA job is not only do you not get to see your kids very much, even when they're in the same city as you certainly don't get to see their kids very much when they're thousands of miles away. And so Dame said, hey, if I'm, the reporting was like, if you want to have me on your team, part of it is that I want to be in Portland. This is the place that I think of as home. Dame spent the first 11 years of his career here. He moved here as a 22-year-old and left as a 33-year-old. He did a lot of growing up here. He was the most powerful person in Portland at one point. One time, he sent out a tweet complaining that there were no fans in the arena during the COVID season of 2021, and by the end of the week, there were fans in the arena. Dude has pull at the governor's office. And instead of saying, well, I'm going to live in Portland because that's where I want to be, and maybe I'll sign a contract. And there is like a way in which Dame actually could have maintained his free agency up through the end of the year and signed a contract with another team in the spring and still maintained some of his contractual bonuses that would come with it, some bird rights stuff that would come with it, allow him to get paid more money down the line. He didn't do that. Instead, Portland, chilling with 13 roster spots spoken for and 2 roster spots open and money to spend because of the decisions they made, including waiving DeAndre Ayton and him giving some money back in the process, with money to spend and an open roster spot, Dame and the Blazers have decided it's reunion time. It's reunion time. He's coming back. Holy cow. There is a lot to unpack here that I will imagine we will do over the coming months. What I want to do briefly to close to wrap up the show here, because this is going to be like a 20-minute program. They usually are about a half hour. Because we're going to come back. The Blazers are currently, right now, I've just started playing a Summer League game, so I'm going to go watch that, and then we'll talk about the Summer League game after that. But first of all, this puts such a weird coda, a weird bow on the Damian Lillard trade. On July 1st, 2023, Damian Lillard officially requested a trade. By that point, in the beginning of July, in the summer of 2023, it was inevitable that the marriage was going to end. It was just how it was going to end. But based on like the decisions the Blazers had made, the decision to not trade the number 3 overall draft pick and draft Scoot, it was really about the pick not being traded, not specifically Scoot. Pretty much would have been anybody there. It's not like Amen Thompson would have saved the franchise, but like or saved Dame, I guess. But he may very well have saved the franchise. Pretty good. But like, because of the events of the summer of 2023 and some of the moves that quite frankly, that Joe Cronin had made around those decisions, it was inevitable that Dame was gone. And then 4 months later, he gets traded to Milwaukee. And the initial trade is a 3-team deal with Milwaukee, Phoenix, and Portland. And the Blazers received Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Tumani Kamara, and a couple draft picks, or an unprotected 2029 pick from the Bucks and a couple swaps. But Drew is not part of the plan. He wants to be rerouted. The Blazers acquiesce. They find out a place he can go, and they send him to Boston. He never plays here. I don't really believe in like the full transitive property of trade, so we're not going to get into Denny Avdia here in this particular trade, but you can on your own if you like. But the Drew trade is like another subsequent immediate trade that happened before a basketball game was played and only involved trading Drew Holiday. So I think you could group those together as a sort of larger part of the Dame trade. Drew goes to Boston. Blazers acquire Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, a 2024 first-round pick, and a 2029 unprotected pick from the Celtics. Brogdon and a couple of the picks acquired in this trade would eventually be used to trade for Denny Avdia. In my mind, not part of the Dame package, but you could see why it would be easy. Then this summer, the Blazers traded Anthony freaking Simons for Drew Holiday, acquiring him a second time. And then a few weeks later, they signed Damian Lillard. They just acquired the player they traded Dame for and brought Dame back in the same summer. The total package for what they sent out and what came back for Dame is like, if you really want to get into it, it's like Yusuf Nurkic, Anthony Simons, Nazir Little, and Keon Johnson. They traded those 4 players to end up with, in the very least, depending on how you want to count it, Drew Holiday, Tumani Kamara, and Damian Lillard. 2 years later. It's wild. I also want to address something, and we'll do that after the break here. A couple weeks ago on this very podcast, I said that it wasn't time for Damian Lillard to return. I sat here and shared my opinion that now this offseason, when Dame entered free agency, this was not the time to bring Damian Lillard back. I want to reckon with that and talk about what this move means for the Blazers moving forward. Because while my opinion probably hasn't changed, the reality has, and it's time to reckon with that. Join me in that second segment, won't ya? First, though, let's talk Monarch Money. Do you ever think you wish it was easier to save money, to manage your cash? Well, with Monarch Money, it can be easier. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a great budgeting app, but it's more than that. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. So you can track your spending by category, like what you're spending on, dining out, eating out, what you're spending on various digital subscriptions. Plus, if you share your finances with someone, you both can track your shared finances all in the same app. Plus, everything is there together. Like I said, your investments, your checking account, your savings account, if you got student loan debt, if you got a mortgage, all of that can be right there for you. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, and the code is LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. All right, still a pass first point guard, still Mike Richmond, still listening to Locked On Blazers, still talking Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard entered free agency, and I sat here right in the show, said he got waived, and it's not time to bring him back. And I recognize that many of you would disagree with me, and that that's maybe not a widely held opinion, but my opinion was based around this idea. And it's time to reckon with that opinion, right? Because Damian Lillard is he's on the basketball team, right? He's going to be back. He's probably the most powerful person in the organization again. More on that in a moment. But so my reticence for the Blazers to re-sign Dame was that some of their other moves had finally given them this sort of clear evaluation path, right? They had always had Anthony Simons in front of Scoot Henderson. So there was a cap on how much Scoot could play. And because they had Ants and because they had some other guys in front of them, it wasn't always clean. And by swapping Simons for Drew Holiday, Drew's a little bit older, also 35. It's Ant at 26, it's weird. It's cleaner. Maybe he's turned 27, but whatever. In his physical prime and with the relationship he has with the team and the longevity, it's weird to be okay, you're going to move to a bench role, not because you're worse, but because we really want to see this young guy thrive. And my thinking was with Drew there, it takes out some of the political challenges of dealing with an incumbent player, someone who has a standing history with the organization like Ant does. And my idea was now you have this clear evaluation situation, right? In a way that you hadn't in previous seasons, and you can actually find out what you have. And if you find out that Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe aren't any good, fine. But at least you gave them clear, open runway to do so. And so not only even recognizing that Dame wouldn't play this season in that particular show, it is it puts everyone knows the score of the game, right? When you make these decisions, it's not it might not impact anyone on the court in October or November, December. It might not the whole next season, right? Dame's unlikely to play next season, but the looming over you, the idea, the sort of lack of franchise commitment, the lack of clarity, the lack of clear process. To me, they had finally given themselves an opportunity to have this clear way to evaluate their youngsters. And for me, I was against it because it's yeah, Dame should come back at some point, but not now. It doesn't make sense now. That was my whole argument. They don't agree. They simply do not agree. And quite frankly, this has been a trend with some of my preferences versus the organization, is that I have said, go young, commit to it, do all this, and they just don't want to do that. Now, Dame's not going to play this season. He just turned 35 in July. July 15th is his birthday. I think he's the only NBA player whose birthday I know off the top of my head. Happy birthday, Dame, our Cancer King. So he's likely to miss all this year. So that means he'll come back at age 36 next year. His birthday will also be July 15th in 2026. He'll be 36. He'll be entering his 14th playing season, 15th season in the league, but 14th playing season. And he'll have that year under contract and the following year. The following year is a team option. A player option, rather. What that allows Dame to do is, one, have some leverage, right? He can't just be, it's like if he can't be just plopped off into nowhere. He can decide to opt in and be part of things and come back for his age 36 and age 37 season in Portland if he chooses to do so. It also allows him to, if he does play well, opt out and sign for some more money. Dame, even last year, I think one of the big challenges for Dame in Milwaukee is he just never was Damian Lillard. Dame is give me the ball, let me run pick and roll, let me dictate the tempo and all of those things. And he just never got to play like himself, even when he played well. And last year he averaged like 24-7 and made an all-star team. It was pretty good. But like, he never looked like Portland Dame. He was always like, playing in someone else's world, right? With Giannis. It just, it never gelled. He'll be back in a place where he gets to be that guy, assuming that he is capable of being that guy. And there's no reason to think that the Blazers won't give him every opportunity to be that guy. The idea that he'll come back at age 36 and like be Scoot Henderson's backup is wild. Don't kid yourself. Do not kid yourself. You do not make this commitment. You don't, not financially, not for the years, not with the player option, unless you are saying, Dame, we are so happy to have you. And I think that's what this is, and that's how it should be celebrated. I think there is some, my preferences laid out in front of you. It's like, yeah, this does cloud the future of Sterling Scoot Henderson to some extent. Maybe a full extent, adding Drew Holiday and Damian Lillard in one offseason, two 35-year-old guards, right? Like, yeah. Certainly that seems to suggest a certain type of way the franchise feels about Scoot. But that's not going to come up immediately. And Scoot will have a chance to have a defiantly excellent season in the face of a franchise that is not committed to him meaningfully. But I think also like what should be sort of the takeaway here is that this is what both sides wanted. Nothing about this suggests that the Blazers tried to like figure out a way to sneaky lowball Damian Lillard, right? They gave him $42 million across 3 seasons. This is like a chunk of basically the rest of the money they had to spend. Pretty much guarantees they will not be carrying a 15th player into the, I haven't done the full math, but pretty unlikely they'll be carrying a 15th player into the season. So this is their team. Maybe they'll sign a minimum guy to a non-guaranteed contract and make that work. But that's like the room they have most likely with this situation. And it means like, because Dame wanted this. I mentioned in that show that I recorded when I said like I don't think they should bring Dame back. It's like anyone. I talked to someone who knows Dame super super well, and what they told me was Damian Lillard wants to come back. And Damian Lillard publicly said that he had envisioned playing in Portland again in the future. Like privately, he was telling the people close to him, I want to be back in Portland. He lives here. His kids are here. He wanted to come back. And the Blazers wanted him too. This was a reunion made by both sides having real interest in getting it done. And what it means for you is you get to cheer for Dame again. I have said that I think Damian Lillard, the last 2 seasons, was the most popular Portland Trailblazer. He just happened to play for the Milwaukee Bucks. Now there isn't this weird thing where he plays for another team and he comes back a visitor and you have to debate his like how you feel about rooting for other teams, et cetera, et cetera. This is just a dude you can root for. He's your guy. He's been your guy. He spent 11 years being the guy, being the most brutally loyal, probably to a fault, quite frankly, player to Portland. He was the argument for him being the greatest Trailblazer of all time over Clyde Drexler basically boiled down to that loyalty because Portland means something to Dame the way Portland means nothing to Clyde Drexler. It was about the soft stuff, and this is a commitment to that. Is a commitment to that relationship. It is a commitment to Damian's like true love and appreciation for what it means to be a Portland Trailblazer, what it means to play basketball in this city, what it means to play basketball in the building, in the Moda Center, nay Rose Garden, like what it means to be the guy here. And it's going to take a little while before we see him back on the basketball court. But the team committed to him for real. He, with choices to go basically anywhere he could want, chose to come back here and be king again. It's worth celebrating today. I think there are funky stuff that might happen down the line, and we'll talk all about the funky stuff in the future. But today, day 1, afternoon 1, evening 1 of the Damian Lillard experience, welcome home. Blazers play, they're playing right now. I'm going to catch up to it. I got it recorded. I'm going to catch up to it. They're playing a Summer League game. I'm going to talk all about that, and we'll talk Young Hansen and crew after that game wraps. So come back to the feed. Wherever you are watching or listening to this, come back to that feed, and we will do it again. I appreciate you listening. Tell your friends about the program. I'll talk to you soon.